come here. Do these pants make my butt look big? You don't have to answer. I'm only kidding.
You just look so different.
Yeah, I know. Professional clothing. No more t-shirts and jeans and pajama bottoms. I'm actually pretty nervous about tomorrow, though.
Why? What are you worried about? This is such an exciting change in your life.
I've been working from home for so long. And I was at home with Luke for about 12 years. Am I actually good enough for this?
Maybe. They offered you the job.
But what if I fuck it up? What if I get hungry at work? I gotta pack lunch and snacks. And what if I miss my stop on the metro? I always get so mad at myself when I fuck that up.
Look, I'm sure they'll understand. It's just your first day.
I guess nobody's perfect. And I can pack extra snacks.
And you got to buy new clothes.
I have to admit, it was really fun to go shopping. Shopping! We got some new shoes.
Shoes?
Shoes.
You got shoes?
I got some shoes.
Shoes.
Guys, shut the fuck up!
Sorry. Anyway, new clothes for a new beginning. Speaking of new beginnings, isn't today the new season of Cold Read the Podcast?
Holy shit, that's right. I have to get ready for that now.
Makeup time?
You know me too well.
I got it.
Welcome to Cold Read the Podcast, Season 2, featuring Zamoody, The Road to Eldurrino, Renara Hawke, and PrincessPashley, a podcast by voice actors for voice actors. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome, everybody. Pashley, thank you so much for that intro. I have to ask, though, is the shirt that you're currently wearing part of that new look? Yes, okay. Yes, welcome to Cold Read the Podcast Season 2. We are looking forward to bringing you a whole new particular year of just stuff that's going to go on. So thanks for being here. If you're here live, we record this twitch.tv/Zamoody at noon on Sundays. If you're listening to us via YouTube, thank you so much. Or if you're listening to us wherever you can get your podcast, thanks. So we're gonna change things up. In case you guys don't notice, Renara is not in today. I'm just gonna say that Renara is perfectly okay. She is just recovering. She got her second COVID vaccine. So yeah. So we all I think at this point most of us understand what that means. Hopefully we'll have her back next week. So no worries there. Season 2 is not change hosts, but we do have our guest host, award-winning actor, Ravenmane /Bard, and pointing at the award. Thank you so much. Let's check in on your side of the world first. We'll start with you, Ravenmane. How have you been? How are you?
How exciting!
Yes.
Oh man, I'm great. Last weekend was tumultuous. We don't need to talk about that. But the good news is, as a result of that very unfortunate tumultuousness, my job this week did decide to very kindly and very graciously fuck off, which was very nice. That was cool. That was great.
Nice.
Also, I got a new dog. I got a dog on Thursday. That was really cool.
Nice.
Fuck it. She's fucking precious.
Oh.
How committed am I to being a dog dad? Well, not as committed as my lady friend. She has already made an Instagram for our dog.
Of course.
That's how you know.
What is the Instagram, out of curiosity?
You know.
Oh, okay.
I should know this.
Okay.
Right?
Never mind. Sorry.
Like, I want to say Hoshi the Shiba Star or something. Oh, funny story. It's Shiba Inu. This was a dog that was maybe not funny, but I think it's funny. This was a dog that was a breeding dog, and apparently the breeder never gave her a name, so I like to think that they just called her like a number, like, hey, 12 or whatever.
13.
So when she was given to a rescue group, they gave this dog a name. The name they gave the dog was Macy. I hate when people give human names to dogs or cats or animals. I think that's lame. Like, name them something fun. Like, if you
Like
have,
Mark.
yeah, no, actually, nothing like that. Like if you have like a hamster and you're like, oh, George, what's going on? I judge you like a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. So they named this dog Macy, and whatever. She's precious, so we accept these kind of things. The foster family that was fostering her, because this was a small rescue agency, they do not have the bandwidth to hold a bunch of dogs at once, so they employ foster families. The family who was fostering her noticed she didn't respond to Macy, so they had the idea. Well, let's give her a new name. Let's name her Star, and I hate that a little bit too, but it's better than Macy. But they have a 4-year-old, this foster family, and the 4-year-old was like, I have a better idea. It's a Shiba Inu. Shiba Inus are Japanese hunting dogs. Let's name her Hoshi.
Hoshi.
Mom was like, what
a
does
great
Hoshi
name.
mean? Hoshi is Japanese for star. And tremendous weeb that I am, I was like, we're keeping that fucking name. And here's why.
In front of the 4-year-old.
My favorite manga that I've ever read of all time is called Hoshi no Samidare. So there is a 100% chance that's a serendipitous thing. You can't change that.
Nice.
Makes sense.
So
meant
Hoshi,
to be.
we have a dog.
Hoshi.
She's precious.
Very cute.
Nice.
Puddles is okay, but not Dolly. I've heard somewhere say if you name a dog a particular name, they tend to take that character. I have a dog named Chewy because it's a big orange, big type of dog, and he does chew everything up. So I'm a big believer in don't name your dog what you don't want it to be. Well, thanks, Ravenmane. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being. Pashley, you've got a lot coming up according to that intro, don't you?
No, it was just kind of a perfect storm of life events. So I'm starting my new full-time job tomorrow, which is yay. Big fucking change. Like commuting into DC, commuting out of DC, which is an ordeal, as I found out last Thursday. I got to sing live with a pianist in a live voice lesson last week.
Whoa.
See, Ravenmane knows.
neat.
Ravenmane feels me. The canned music is tough with the opera music, which I'm finding out today. But yeah, so this weekend we did the intro, and then I've been learning Chinese pronunciation for a piece that's called City of Bells. That's for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign on Arcadum's channel. So we're trying to get I'm trying to get it done as quickly as possible. I was very asthmatic last week, so I couldn't start work on it until this weekend, until my boys had recovered.
Yeah.
So the great challenge is, though, and I was just saying to Zamoody, and it's kind of applicable here, like trying to get the correct pronunciation and make it sound operatic. And Chinese, in my opinion, doesn't lend itself to beautiful singing. That's just my 2 cents. So that's a challenge, and I'm walking that delicate line with the composer and native Chinese speaker. Like this is I think how it could sound, and then she'll probably come back at me and say like, well, maybe do this a little more. It's a fun process. It's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It's given me anxiety all weekend. Then we're flying out on Tuesday night after my second full day of work because my little sister is getting married. So we're preparing for that trip as well. Yeah. So it's like,
It's like, hey, thanks for hiring me. I have to go for a couple of days.
Yeah, that's right. So I told them, I'm like, my sister's getting married on a Thursday. Fuck, I don't know why it's a Thursday and not a Saturday. That would be nice if it was Saturday.
That is a bit strange.
But that's what the budget allows. And my little sister is not one of these material
Right.
people. Like, she doesn't give a shit about like they don't even have a registry, excuse me. I don't know if I said registry.
Registry is
Wow.
actually an interesting idea. It's a wedding registry. It's a registry. You heard it here first, folks.
Not a begistry, a registry. Wedding registry.
You should trademark that as soon as humanly possible so no one else
Let's go.
steals that idea.
Yeah, and all they want for gifts is like money towards their trip. They want to go to Patagonia, of all fucking things. And so anyway, here we are. Deep breaths. Work as quickly
okay.
as you can.
Burnham says the stuff that Damon Albarn wrote for a Chinese opera of Journey into the West is really cool, Pashley.
Yeah, I've heard some of it. What I'm saying is it's not as prolific as like Italian opera. And Gizmo, goddamn it.
Wedgie's tree. Well,
Can always be counted upon.
we
Maybe
wish-
I'm being short-sighted there because here's my background and I don't have as much exposure. The point is, here I am learning Chinese and swimming in the deep end.
well, and you know what's so great is that this is basically right into vocal production, and here you are. So awesome that you're
Yay.
getting to do all this stuff.
Yay!
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 Eldurrino, how was your week, sir?
It was long.
Giggity.
Lots of stuff going on.
Except the
If I can recall it, except for the giggity, yes. Let's see if I can recall it all. So, okay. So first there was the audition that we showcased 2-3 weeks ago, I think, with the Russian and Ukrainian thing.
Yeah.
So I did a second audition for that. This one was a lot longer, a lot more in depth, involved a lot more sound effects and stuff like that, a lot more editing. I had to do different accents for that. I did Russian, Ukrainian, American, like a German sort of, and then the last one that I struggled with was Chinese, which I can kind of do a decent Chinese accent, but at the same time I feel like it's very stereotypical, and I did not want to do it for fear of offending someone because that's a gray area. So I kind of went with like this weird off, like what am I trying to think of, like anime girl-ish accent. So
Okay.
Speaking of stereotypes.
I mean, I don't know. It was funny and it lended itself to the character. So,
There you go.
yeah. So anyway, so I did that. I submitted it. The guy said he would reach out by the end of the week in order to like give feedback and stuff like that. And strangely, I didn't hear from him. But come the following Tuesday, he emailed me, said that him as well as 2 other people had listened to it, thought it was fantastic. They loved that I added all the extra sound effects and stuff like that. So this guy, while he is from the UK, he actually lives in Bali right now. So I have an interview tonight at 9:30 p.m. To talk about this project and, for what I'm going to assume, talk about the role and begin that. So very excited for that. It's a weekly thing. It's going to be part of a YouTube series, I believe.
Nice.
So yeah, going to be doing that, which means I get to practice my accent work, which is great. Helps me expand my repertoire. It's totally gonna be fun. So we got that. There is an audio like drama fiction that I was cast for before. They have another one coming out called Paladin Cycle. They asked me to do a character named Tobias. I auditioned for it. They cast me for it. That one's 1,000 words, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then they also asked me to audition for another part of a main character. And that one's been a little strange because the guy's from Texas. They said he should have a slight Texan accent. When I auditioned for it, I gave him a little bit of a twang. They said that his voice is very deep and masculine. So anyways, I did the audition, sent it in. They're like, we don't like the twang. We don't like the gruffness in your voice. You know, drop those 2 things, send over a few samples, and we'll see. So I did. And then they sent it back, and they're like, still not really certain about it. The acting itself and the line sounds great, but the actual narration part, where it sounds very audiobook-ish. So we'd like to try that one more time just to see if you can bring a little bit more drama to it. And then they sent me some like reference material and such. So yeah, so I'm gonna be trying that again, either tonight or tomorrow. Which is great because that character itself is about 11,000 words total. So that'll take up a lot of time on top of the other thing. Lastly, the guy, there was a project that I did before, or not a project I did before, but I auditioned for before. about this like animation with this alien. They have been it's a solo project, so they've been working on it for quite some time, and they finally just reached out to me yesterday about it and said, hey, I have this scene that I want you to start doing for me, but I want to try and perfect the voice with you. So you know, I'm going to send you over the monologue, and then, you know, send it back. We'll talk about it, you know, figure things out. So yeah, I'm out of breath. I'm very tired. And yeah, so that's how the past few weeks have been. So out of nowhere, I have a bunch of voice acting that I'm going to start needing to do. So yay.
I mean, this is not a bad problem to have.
No, not at all. I'm a bit fearful of doing any more auditions because I already know if I have a weekly thing to do, as well as like another 11,000 word plus another 1,000 word thing that I'm supposed to be recording soon, I'm going to be pretty busy on top of my day job and other things that are going on in my life. So yeah, but I mean, overall, I mean, this is what I'm looking for, and I'm super, super thrilled to start getting into it.
That's awesome. As long as you don't get completely burned out, you'll be fine. So
hell no, I love playing pretend. So
yeah,
this is my favorite thing to do. So I don't think there's any way I could get burnt out on it.
So for me, obviously, I had my shoulder surgery. I'm a lot better right now. Already really able to move it. I was super loopy last week, so we decided to take a week off just to give me a little time to recover. I have not gotten back into the booth, unfortunately. I am still working with the Midnight Poppy Land for the comic. I'm still working with Tethras, which is that Skyrim character. I got a whole new script for that guy. I think we're approaching like 1,500 lines with that one.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm so looking forward for it to come out because I'm going to get to play with me as a companion and listen to all these lines that I've recorded. And it's going to be super weird and super awkward.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I feel like that's what's always worried me about wanting to do stuff like that is like, I'd obviously want to play the mod or the game afterwards, but then to have to listen to your voice the whole time and be like, oh, I should have done this, or oh, I screwed that up, or God, that guy sounds like a dick.
Though.
You know,
it's the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Especially if you hate your voice, like we all hate our voices. Let's just put it out on the table.
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
you're like,
100%.
if I ruin Minecraft, you know, whatever.
And you know what? It's okay. It's I think it's something just built into people that you're not comfortable with your own voice, and it helps you because I mean I've gotten used to listening to it at this point, and I'm a little bit more critical on it than I used to be. I'm trying not to be as sensitive. And I mean even listening to you, Eldurrino, because you've already had 2 attempts on this character. At least they're willing to say, hey, let's try this again with this particular way. It sounds like you've got a good group of people to work with, so that's super awesome to hear.
Yeah, I mean they're looking at keeping the cast a bit small and hopefully getting people in for multiple characters, just so that when it comes time to actually do the recordings, it's easier to rely on people as well as avoiding drama, I guess. I'm not sure what they meant by that, but yeah,
more people, more drama.
100%.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, even considering looking at all the casting call stuff that I've done, the more people that you put in, especially, I don't mean to say like less experienced, but the younger they are, they tend to be a lot more dramatic, and even the slightest bit of drama can just blow everything out of the water. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so we're going to get into basically questions that we've gotten in so far, and we're taking this opportunity in season 2 just to get to know each other again. And for those of you that are just coming in and joining us maybe for the first time or listening to this podcast now that you see season 2, I see Burnham's already put in a question, so here's what it is. Do you reach a point with a character that you no longer hear it as you voice because the character's taken a life of its own?
Oh God, yes. Okay, let me answer this in the character's voice. So my name is Zach Middle. I am a hillbilly kind of guy, cowboy dude from Tomahawk, Wisconsin, and yeah, so I just kind of came out of this dude's mouth this one day, and I don't really know where it came from, but all I know is I love meth, I love telling stories, and I love shooting shit like guns and cannons and whatever else I can find. Yeah, so it's a bit weird because normally I speak in a pretty low voice, but when I'm doing Zach, I have to pitch up quite a bit as well as adding in this twang kind of thing. So it's you definitely kind of, after you do it for long enough, you definitely kind of lose yourself in the character. And I'll give you a good example. So in my last intro that I did, at the very end, you hear a story come out of nowhere from Zach about, did I ever tell you guys about that one time that I actually punched a ghost? That entire thing was just off the cuff. Like when I get into, oh my God, you gave Zach a gift sub. That's hilarious. It's too bad there isn't an account named Zach Metal. I might have to create that. No, but that was completely off the cuff. I was literally just thinking about like horror games and stuff like that, and then it just comes out, and I just think about the crazy shit that Zach might get himself into, such as going into a house and seeing a ghost and interacting with the spirit box and then punching the ghost in the dick. Like it's really weird. Like when you are playing a character for so long, especially one that you've created, you immediately know what they are, what they're good at, what they're not good at, what they like or dislike. So to answer your question, your characters can definitely create their own lives, and then all of a sudden you start living it. Now, disclaimer, I don't do meth. I don't shoot guns or cannons. I don't punch ghosts in the dick. So his life is not my life. I just he has the life that I wish I had, with a question mark. Anyways, somebody else started talking.
Yeah, no problem. God damn it, Pashley, now you gave one to meth. What the Thank you for the gift sub.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, I'm not going to say no to the support, so thank you. That's for sure a thing you get with TTRPGs. I'm sorry, TTRPGs, I'm not familiar with those. Anybody?
Something.
Tabletop role-playing games.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Well, I know, yeah. Ravenmane's a big one. Hey, Scottish Moon. I guess getting to the point of voice acting role, and it's funny because I did a D&D section actually on stream a couple months back, and I did it all as the crazy voice that I do, and he just started taking on a voice of his own, and I literally, the campaign would end, and I couldn't turn him off for about half a day. He would just all of a sudden come out, and I would just start talking like this, and then everything would be funny, and I just could not get him out of my head. Yeah. And actually that he morphed into Tethras. So Tethras has that voice that just developed and kept it. And I'm talking to the gentleman that I'm working with, and he seems to be having a lot of fun because he just keeps feeding me lines. So how can I say no?
Right. No, I know how you feel about that too, because like I never used to say the word y'all. But after doing Zach for so long, it is now part of my regular speech, and I can't stop.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I don't know that this necessarily answers Burnham's initial question, but when I was recording my lines for Renara's intro as the big sexy vampire bard, I was given very specific direction for what Renara had wanted. She was like, let's do a take with a more RP-oriented voice, which I, because of my predilections, took to mean speak with like a light British accent, like playfully British, or at the very least not the way I speak normally, and then do one take of the way you speak normally. And like a fool, I did the one with the RP accent first. And when I was done with that, I was like, all right, let's do the normal voice. And I completely forgot how to speak like a normal person. I had no... I was like, I'm reading my lines, and I was like, I don't think I talk like that normally. I'm 99% positive that's not how I talk as a person. So there's that.
Yeah, I can totally see that happening. How about you? I know, Pastor, mostly you've done a lot of the operatic stuff, a lot of the musical stuff. Anything like that ever happen to you while you're working on a show or a production?
You know, because it has been so long since I've been in a show. But I do remember distinctly when I was in high school, my first lead ever was Lily in the Secret Garden. And if you're familiar with that show, she just appears and sings and disappears. And I just remember like being like the character wouldn't come out, but my brain couldn't let go of it. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, okay, but what? You look at your staging, you look at your music, you look at like you listen to everything. That's kind of more like it. Maybe that's ADHD performer brain. Like we just hyper focus, and you're like can't get off the hamster wheel. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to kind of piggyback off of what Pashley was just saying, there's a thing that I do after every musical I perform in. Whenever I'm done performing, I take like 5 to 10 minutes after the show, after I'm out of costume and I'm in my street clothes. I do a bunch of vocal cool down exercises. A lot of people vocally warm up. Not a lot of people do vocal cool downs.
Ooh.
Because when you're performing in anything, even if you're recording lines in a booth, if you're doing something on a stage, to a degree, you're using some variety of put on voice. And when you're doing singing things, particularly, that's something that I can speak to personally. A lot of times when you're doing singing things, you're speaking in a more broad voice, something like around here. And if you don't do vocal cool downs, you'll come out and you'll greet everyone. Hello, friends. How are you doing? Thank you for coming to my show. Hello. Hi. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you speak like this, coming right off the stage, and you're just talking and talking and talking and talking after doing sometimes an 1.5 to 3 hour long musical production, you're going to exhaust your voice very quickly. So it's important to do these vocal cool downs so you don't come out greeting, hello, everyone. You're speaking in your street voice. You're speaking normally. You're speaking in a relaxed way that's not going to create tension.
Well, that makes
Love
sense.
it. Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll watch myself on like a DVD recording of a show and I'll be like, I don't sound like that.
I don't know about everyone else, but I would love if you just spoke like that for the rest of, eternity.
I had a friend at Rutgers named Boris, who I don't know that he had a normal. I think he only had stage voice. That's it. Boris would just be like, Mark, hello, it is great to see you. I'm like, Boris, I am 1.5 feet away from you. Chill.
Nice.
Relax.
Oh my gosh. Well, and you know what? At some point, maybe if Pashley can't make it in, you sit in instead of having a Pashley's corner, maybe we can have a Ravenmane corner, and we can talk about your cooldown. And I think that would be very beneficial to the audience.
There you go.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Burnham. Is that Speakend?
Speakend, yes.
Is that correct? I don't know now.
Sounds fine to me.
Fair enough. Here we go. So, again, an opportunity to get to know us again. So I'm pulling from an interview questionnaire that I got not too long ago when I was working for a particular video game. So I'm just going to go down this list to what kind of can apply to us. This may be repetitive information for those of you that have been here with us for a while, but again, this is kind of a rebirth, so we want to go through it again. Magmorta in chat says, I had a friend that was a New Yorker. Not only did he have the accent, but the man had no down volume. I'd have to hold the phone away from my ear to spare my hearing. Yeah.
Okay, so my girlfriend's entire family comes from New York, and I can confirm that all of them are like that. Literally, when she's talking on the phone, I'll be standing 6 feet away. She'll be in the living room. I'll be in the kitchen, and she's not on speakerphone, and I can still hear her mom talking through the phone. It is something interesting. Sure. Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna start at the top left-hand side now, and this is gonna say what inspired you to become a voiceover talent. Ravenmane, I'm gonna redirect that. Pashley, I'm gonna redirect that as well. So Ravenmane, what inspired you to actually become a stage actor?
What a great question. Well, like countless young straight white men in the theater, there was a girl in high school and I fancied her. And she was like, hey, you should do the spring musical. And I was like, what's the spring musical? And she was like, The Music Man. And I was like, never heard of it. Are you doing it? She was like, yes. I was like, so am I.
What a coincidence.
A tale as old as time, a truth as old as song.
I have to ask only because I'm sure people will be curious. Did anything come out of that?
Absolutely not. Not a single.
Damn.
We dated for like a month. That's it.
Gotcha. Was it a fun month? Fair enough. Pashley, what inspired you to become into vocal production or singing?
So I am one of those people who legitimately learned to sing before they learned to talk, but not because of any spectacular singing, only because I had neurological problems.
Interesting.
But no, in middle school, choir and all that stuff kind of became an escape. And then I ended up in a studio with a teacher who really liked, who taught opera, which is kind of rare. In a way, at least where I was from in Podunk, Connecticut. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. And it just took off from there.
Gotcha.
You know?
So, Eldurrino, I'm curious if you want to refocus this into voice acting, that'd be great, or just acting in general. What made you be wanting to play with other people, preferably for money?
Yes. No, that's the straight answer to my question. I want money. No. No. So, I mean, growing up, I loved doing impersonations. I've said this before, but like Jim Carrey has been a long time like hero of mine. I love his style of humor, and the crazy antics that he does in his acting performances. And yeah, I just growing up, I always wanted to be like that. I loved, like growing up, I hung out with my cousins a lot, and so we would always be playing pretend, whether it be based on stuff that we came up on ourselves or based on like video games that we played, et cetera, et cetera. So I started just doing that, and after a while, I got into, my adult life, in which I started doing IT work, and that kind of sucked a lot of my creativity out. But then, like, my friends are saying, hey, you have a good radio voice and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't know. I don't see myself being on radio, but I like acting. I like singing and performing and entertaining. And then I got into like GTA roleplay, where I could create a character and live out their life vicariously. And that basically led me to voice acting. And I've always had an appreciation for people who voice act, because they can, give a character a certain life without actually being seen. And that always fascinated me. And even more so that one person could play multiple voices and you would never even know that they were the same person. So, yeah, that was always crazy to me. So, and that's really what got me into voice acting. Oh, that, and I love to be really loud, because I am a metal musician, and so if I can be loud, I'm having a really good time.
I can't blame you. So funny enough, we've all heard the story of how I ended up here, so I'm not going to go down that road. The first play I ever did, I was in 8th grade, and it was called La Fonda de las Siete Cabrillas. It is because I went to school in Mexico growing up. And in that play, I learned that I actually love acting. From there, we moved on and we did Grease down in Mexico, and I learned I loved musical theater. And then this magical thing came out in Fox in the 90s, which was Batman the Animated Series. And I got to hear Kevin Conroy, and I got to hear Mark Hamill, and it was like, this is all in one. This just like everything comes together, and especially because Mark Hamill's got such a musical voice, and he's got such a character that he plays when he does the Joker, and it just led to me wanting to do this for a living. Life had other ideas. So, 25 years later, I finally got an opportunity to get into it, but it was a lot of fun. It was just something to look at and just to go, yeah, this is totally what I want to do.
Thanks, COVID-19.
Well, Twitch Sings is what started getting me the equipment here.
True.
And then moved
Right.
everything forward to that point. Okay, so next question for everybody. What role do you primarily love to play? Ravenmane.
So, I've been doing community theater in the beautiful, lovely state of New Jersey for 12 years now.
Wow.
I've taken my licks, as they say. There's this idea that a lot of people like to talk about in New Jersey community theater, like, oh, you've paid your dues, and I hate that because it sounds really fucking pretentious.
It does.
I say that as somebody who is sitting in an office space with an award directly over my right shoulder. So if I'm saying it's a pretentious thing, I fucking mean it. But I have done a lot of community theater. So at this point, really, what I like to do is if I see something go, oh, this looks like fun. Oh, that sounds like it would be fun to perform. I'll do that. So that's kind of what I look for when I'm auditioning for things. Is this going to be fun? Does this have some banging music? If the answer is yes, and yes, we're going for it.
Nice.
I don't like to. There are a lot of people who like to be like, I would like to play this role or nothing when they sign up for shows in community theater. And I understand the value in doing something like that, because if you are not going to be doing if you're going to be cast in like a role you have no interest in doing, that can be kind of a little bit soul sucking. It could be not very fun. So I understand the value in doing something like that. But on the other hand, why audition for something if you're not going to have fun doing anything?
100%. 100%. Good. That's very awesome. And Burnham does say, what if you say I've paid my dues instead?
I've paid my dues.
Of course.
Ashley, how about you?
As far as like if I could play a dream role,
Yeah.
if like, because my aspirations, were, I don't want to say dash, and I don't want to put that guilt on my child, but like I was pretty young when I was a young mother, and I had to make the decision to not perform full time. But if I could go back and do it again, there are two roles that I would love to play, and not even operatic. I would love to play Eliza Doolittle in Marion the Librarian. My Fair Lady is my favorite musical, period, end of story.
Nice.
So.
Very cool. How about you, Eldurrino? When it comes to the voice acting side, is there a character or is there a type of character that you would love to play?
Well, I love playing villains. As dumb as that sounds. I guess it doesn't sound dumb, but whatever. No, I like that. How do I put this? So, I mean, morally speaking, heroes live by a certain code of ethics. Villains can kind of do whatever the hell they want. And I love that freedom. It allows me to do basically whatever the hell that I want. So I can give my characters a lot more of a performance, I guess. I don't really know how to word that any better, but it's just like whenever I do like laugh takes, it's hard sometimes for me to do a genuinely happy laugh. I will be happy whilst I'm recording it, but my voice just ends up coming off as somewhat evil. Yeah. So I just villains are just more my thing. I mean, like even the other day, for those who follow me on Twitter, I posted a video recently of like just me kind of shotgunning out some auditions for this one project. And one of them was a character that was just called the Mighty Toaster. And it's not like the cartoon that you remember. It's a toaster that's trying to take over humankind. So I got to get like really high pitched with the laugh and, bow before the mighty toaster, So, I mean, that was not quite how it sounded, but yeah, like I could get really crazy with that. And like, you don't really hear heroes or the good guys necessarily with, wacky voices like that all the time. obviously you can play around with that because like my Zach Metal has a twang to him, and he talks about doing drugs and stuff like that. But in my mind, he is a good guy. He lives by a strict code of like not hurting women or not really hurting anybody for that matter unless they hurt him back. Like he tries to live and be a genuine person as opposed to just being a dickhead unless he absolutely needs to. So
are we talking more of an anti-hero here?
No, not necessarily, because like he is a righteous person. He will stand up for his friends and family and stuff like that, and make sacrifices as needed. But he likes doing things that I guess heroes. Well, I guess that kind of does fit the description of anti-hero, but he likes to do things that maybe heroes might frown upon. But it's not necessarily hurting other people. Mm-hmm. It's just hurting himself, except for the shooting part. So moving on, based on like my upbringing, I got into metal music. I know how to scream. I've been doing it for quite a long time. Mm-hmm. So I tend to stick to roles that look for a gruff voice because I can do a very raspy or gruff growl tone very consistently and very easily. So yeah, so when I look for parts, I look for that mostly, or I shouldn't say mostly, but
that's kind of your niche where you're.
If I see it, I'll most likely audition for it unless it's something that's weird. Because along with the gruffness and raspiness, usually they ask for a deep voice, a deep rough voice, and so yeah, it works perfectly because I have a deeper voice. I can do that. Bada bing, pay me.
Eldurrino is available to be contacted at theroadeldurrino.gmail.com. At gmail.com. There you go. Wink. As for me, I'm a big fan of the villain. I'm a big fan of the the Batman kind of brooding type. If I ever had an opportunity to play somebody like Javert, I would so be on it. Because I love that character and the way he goes through his show, and then just at the end, it's like this whole world is upside down. I'm done.
Can you explain quickly who that is?
Javert is from Les Miserables. He is the antagonist versus Jean Valjean. He's basically the I will find you, I will hunt you down, and I will make you pay for your sins. He ends up being saved by Jean Valjean, and then decides that the world has turned upside down. It's not what he thought it would be, and that's basically his game over. But I love the journey that he took in that show. Les Mis has been like my favorite musical. It's the first one that I started. History. There was this big KPBS thing for like the 25th anniversary or something. My history class made me do this whole big thing about it, and I just fell in love with it. And it's always stuck in my head. So that's kind of where that part for me comes up too.
Okay.
Kind of irrelevant, but can I share a funny Les Miserables anecdote? I saw the Les Mis movie in theaters the weekend it came out.
Oh, we know how Pashley feels.
Theater was. My grandmother really wanted to see it, and I was interested enough. Specifically because they had cast Samantha Barks in this movie, and I was like, okay, well, she's going to be fucking sensational. Let's watch this. Watching this movie, during the number Javert's suicide, at the very end, he sings, he ends the song, and he jumps off the bridge into the River Seine. Mm-hmm. And that scene, if you have not seen the movie, it features maybe some of the worst sound editing in film history, because he jumps off and there's this strange crunching noise.
Yes.
That they like, it's like this weird crunching squishy noise. It's like if somebody put like a bunch of paper mache in a tomato and they just squeezed it. And in this empty theater, this noise happens, and It is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I fell out of my chair laughing. The one other person in the theater watching Les Mis was like, "Can you calm down, please?" And I was like, "No, no. Did you hear that?"
Oh my god.
Remind me not to watch a movie with you.
It was just, it was so good. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in any movie ever.
Very nice.
All right.
Burnham says villains who believe they are the hero are amazing to play.
Yes, because they are so
100%.
righteous and they think they're so right.
That's
Yes,
the key to
like-
every good villain, like Thanos, for example.
True.
Yes.
No, no one's the villain in their own story.
No.
Right.
Correct.
I mean, I was gonna say, for those who have played Borderlands 2, Handsome Jack is probably one of the greatest villains in video game history, just because he is so self-righteous and he thinks he is the hero the entire time, and that's what makes him really appealing, is because he's very charming and charismatic. You know, he's almost like a Mad Max meets Ted Bundy kind of character. It's very, very strange, but at the same time, like he's just such a cool villain, and I love watching his story play out.
Oh, and I mean, I when I heard that, I think of Deadpool a lot, because his sense of humor in that game is so good and kind of fourth wall breaking some of the times, just in the comments that he makes and his fascinations with unicorns, and it was such a good game.
Hell yeah.
I'm also, if you were watching the stream, like right up until the minute I was playing God of War 4, that game is a vocal masterpiece. It is a sound masterpiece. The instruments behind the music, the way that everything's portrayed in such a small cast too. If you haven't played it, please take an opportunity to go for it, because that game is just incredible.
Nice.
Okay, last question for the group, and this is going to be kind of a tough one. I'm gonna start with Pashley on this one, so be ready, Pash. What has been the biggest obstacle on your vocal production journey?
Well, that is an interesting question, because that thing that has stopped me was one of the things that brought about the most vocal growth, because I learned a lot about support, and I learned a lot about like lung expansion when I had a little thing here to push against. And you'll hear a lot of singers say the same thing. So, I mean, career opportunity wise, like I've just not gone for anything, you know, but I've because I've been able to kind of be in the background and, you know, do things on my own time. I would say he's been, you know, great for me otherwise. And there was also like I could sing him to sleep too. Like if I was singing the right way, he would fall asleep. And so it's an interesting question, but anyway. And my own self, like today, I'm like, it was really hard. I have so much anxiety about this thing that I'm singing, and it was really difficult to get in and sing it and start it. And now, you know, timelines are changing consistently, and I'm like, I'm super stressed about it. So a lot of times my own framework about my own voice really holds me back. And I'm like, it spills over into my production. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bad. And you know, if that's in your head, then you're rather than what you're singing per se, you know? So I would say myself has been my own worst enemy.
Let's go to Eldurrino. Eldurrino, what would you say has been the biggest obstacle so far?
Okay, two parts. Again, kind of like going with what Pashley said. Myself is my biggest obstacle. I for a long time have suffered with low self-esteem and anxiety and depression, and it's been very difficult to bring myself out of that sometimes. And so even in times in which I feel like doing something creatively, such as I took a year off of working so that I could try to record at least one like short album, just to prove to myself that I could do it. I made it three songs in, and I gave up because I wasn't satisfied with it. They're not necessarily bad songs by any means. I still listen to them this day, but I don't know. I just wasn't completely satisfied with them. And so I know that especially too when it comes to writing, there's always this gnawing fear in the back of my head that I think plagues most artists. What happens to me when I run out of creativity? What happens when I stop thinking of unique and interesting ideas? And it sucks to deal with, you know, like nobody, when you're in a performing profession, you never want to be running out of that, but you are human and you are going to be limited by that. Unless you have some magic secret that the rest of us don't know about, there's going to be times in which you can't think of anything, and that's fine. Like you try to relax yourself as much as possible and keep working on it, and you'll come up with something. Yeah. I was even starting to worry about the third part of this trilogy for the intros that I've been working on. I told everyone, yep, there's going to be a third part. And as soon as I said that, I was like, oh God, there's going to be a third part. What am I going to do? And then the other day I was just like, oh, I guess I can make this announcement. I decided that I'm going to write a 10 to 15 minute rock opera. That's going to involve all the characters that still exist, plus a few more.
Can't wait.
So, yeah, and it's a huge project. I'm starting to write it right now, and it's not going to be done until probably the end of the year. So it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I've always wanted to dabble in creating this, you know, like rock or metal combined with acting and singing and like an orchestra and stuff like that. So it's a big challenge for me, but I think I'm in a really good position now that I can throw myself out that, you know, my confidence has really never been higher. You know, I feel great about myself. I'm exercising, I'm eating healthy, I'm drinking water, you know, like I'm at a pretty damn good point in my life. So I think now is a really good time to jump into that and see if I can actually make that happen. Yeah, that's right. Everybody drink your water. Except for Pashley, who's drinking tea like a nerd.
Who Brian came in and handed it right in the middle of the podcast, I should add.
Well, I told him, I was like, shit, I left it out there.
Vocalists and their tea.
So one of my biggest roadblocks is myself, my own brain. Mm-hmm. The second one, though, has been my budget, sadly. Before all this, like, I worked a good job. Like, I mean, it wasn't a good job, but it was good paying for what I had to do. And so that allowed me to build up a lot of savings and have some spending money. And so that allowed me to buy a nice microphone. It allowed me to build a new computer that can handle what I need it to do. You know, and before I never had that, especially like as a kid, you know, my family was like right on the edge of like lower middle class. Like my mom wasn't working, my dad was, but he was, you know, almost having to pull doubles like every night, or he was an over-the-road truck driver doing like 2 weeks at a time. Like, wow. You know, stuff wasn't easy for us. And so money was kind of a non-existent thing for us as far as like spending goes. So I appreciated everything that I got. And then going into like my adulthood, you know, like I learned the value of money very quick. And so, but I didn't really have any good spending money up until, you know, 24, 25 or so, when I had a decent job. I could start building up that savings. As I've explained before, all of that savings went away when I took a year off of work and decided to kind of just focus on myself, which was necessary. I feel like, you know, like you need, when you fall, you know, you need some time to get yourself back up on your feet again. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's coming around, obviously. Like, I'm having more success in my voice acting. My mental health is a lot better than it was even a year ago. Like, things are definitely turning around. So, yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Brain, money, the end. Goodbye.
All right.
Bye.
Raven, 'Mane? Maine?
So, 'Mane, 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 'M even when I was just kind of starting to get into theater in my early years in college, this idea of acting professionally was very enticing, of course, because how could it not be? You get to play for a living. Functionally, is what professional acting is. But even as a younger person, I knew this was not a feasible thing. This is a conversation that people don't necessarily like to have because it can very, very quickly get very, very politically charged. But theater, be it stage acting, screen acting, whatever, it's a very bourgeoisie thing. Mm-hmm. Like there's a barrier for entry that is profoundly monetary. You're not, if you are a person of my particular means, as I was when I was younger, you're not getting into a very good theater school unless you have phenomenal, crazy, insane work ethic and luck in tandem. These schools are very expensive. The barrier for entry to become a member of Actors Equity, the Stage Actors Guild, if you will, that requires a $1,700 initiation fee paid over 2 years.
Right.
And $1,700 over 2 years, when you kind of you can think about oh, that's not really that much. But like when you're an actor struggling to find work as an actor, that can be a huge amount of money. If you're a person of my means, that's an inconceivable amount of money to pay, while also maintaining the standard of living you have come to enjoy.
Gotcha.
And the thing with and if you want to act professionally on the stage, you really, really need that equity membership, because otherwise, what are you going to do? You will not get an in-person personal audition. You will be going to cattle calls constantly.
Right.
And cattle calls are never a convenient, it's not like, oh, okay, so the audition starts at 11 a.m. I can wake up at 6, go to the gym for a couple hours, get my body physically warm, then vocally warm, and then I'll roll around at 10. If you are not in that line for that audition at 4 a.m., you will not be seen.
Yeah.
Almost certainly. Maybe you will. Maybe. But if you want to be seen, get that knapsack ready. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
It's like in interviews. You always remember the first couple and the last couple, but everything in between is kind of a blur. Unless it was something that shocked you.
Yeah, you've got to. That's a thing that I learned very early on in auditioning for community theater, which is much more low stakes. It is, everyone likes to go the last day. If there are 2 days for auditions, everyone's going to go day 2. And that's a huge, huge, huge mistake. You're doing yourself a disservice. Go first, go early, and make a really strong impression, because then people have to live up to whatever expectation you just said. Yeah. You are setting the tempo.
Yeah.
If you're going later, my God, you better bring something fucking special, because they have already heard I Dreamed a Dream 8 times, and there's a really, really, really low chance you're going to bring something brand new to that song.
Yeah.
I love it. And echoing basically Pashley and Eldurrino, me, for sure. I've always been a big barrier to anything to me be able to me be consistent, me being just able to do it, putting in the right mindset. Time is also another thing, because I try to wear a lot of hats, and that's not making fun of the hat that I have on right now. I try to be a personality who plays video games on Twitch. Try to be a personality that does the voice acting. I try to also be a family person. I try to also be work, and that's a lot of hats, and it's hard to do. So unfortunately, I would say time itself, and then me. So yeah, honestly, I think this is a great episode. It's also great to get to know everybody again. This is a great start for season 2. We started this back in December of last year, and I've been having a blast, and I appreciate my co-hosts and our special guest hosts that have been with us throughout this journey. I look forward to, maybe we can talk about closing the season with the rock opera. I mean, who knows?
It's probably going to happen, because it's going to be the greatest intro ever written.
Or outro, any way that you want to look at it.
Yes.
But for next week, I believe, Eldurrino, you're up to bat for an intro, and not to say that this one's got to be the rock intro, of course. Because
Oh God, no! It will not be. I don't have anything prepared for that other than a general outline, but I'll still bring something pretty cool.
Oh, I'm sure you will. We always look forward to it. But yeah, it's always a great opportunity to be able to sit down and talk to everybody, because this opens up the world. And in Ravenmane, I know not too many people talk to you about acting. I love being able to sit down and just have this opportunity with you, because you're a fountain of knowledge when it comes to this stuff, and I'd love to hear it. I absolutely do. Yeah. that award that you got
Just
back
credit
there,
yourself, award-winning bard.
yeah, the award that you got back there says otherwise.
I appreciate being here. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll get Renara back next week. And yeah, I mean, a lot of fun. I don't know if anybody's got any parting words, but we'll just go ahead and start closing out here. Keep your auditions going. If you have any questions or topics for us, please contact us, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. We will take your auditions. We will listen to them. Next week, I want to start grabbing them from Reddit, and I want to start grabbing them from Twitter, and we're going to analyze them, and we're going to give feedback, and we're actually going to contact them and let them know, hey, we listened to it. Here's what we think. Hopefully you agree. ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, everybody, thank you so much. On behalf of Eldurrino, Pashley, Ravenmane, and Renara, wherever you are listening, hopefully you are well. Thanks for being here, everybody. We will catch you all next time. Keep those auditions going. Keep your dream alive. Thank you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye. Drink water.